Okay, so we can start. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second day of the MODINA Seminar here at STL. And today's session, yesterday we had artist talks, so the artists who are taking part in the MODINA showcase this week here in STL. And today we have performers and experts in performing arts and creative computing talking about their experience and about the field in general. So I will introduce them one by one as they will proceed to their presentations. So, by the way, my name is Nuno Correia, and I'm a coordinator of the MODINA project and associate professor at Tallinn University. I hope those who are in Zoom, seeing us from Zoom, are getting a good video and audio feed. Otherwise, please mention, shout out in the chat if there's any issues coming from your end. So we're looking forward to the different presentations. Each presentation will last around 15 minutes, and then in around 45 minutes we're going to have a discussion with these presenters and Q&A. Okay, so I'll start by introducing our first speaker of today, Dila Demir, who is a designer, researcher, and artist from Turkey, based in Tallinn. She works as a researcher at the Estonian Academy of Arts within the Sensorial Design Research Group, where she leads a project titled Multisensory Design for Somatic Well-Being. Her work blends somatic explorations, creative practices, and material experimentation, focusing on care and well-being. Positioned at the crossroads of interactive textiles, interaction design, and embodied design, Dila's research investigates the potential of sensory experiences in these fields to promote care. She has contributed to various design research grants and artistic projects. Her artistic practice ranges from exploring bodily discomfort to examining cultural heritage and Anatolian symbolism through performance and interactive installations. So without further ado, I pass the floor to Dila. Thank you so much, Dila.
Thank you, Nuno.
Open your presentation.
Thank you.
Here you are.
Thank you, Nuno, for the lovely introduction. So, hello, everyone. My name is Dila, and today I will be talking about mediate. Is it everything okay?
Let me make sure we are sharing your screen.
Okay.
Probably I forgot that. My apologies.
Yeah, we can extend that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Share.
Yeah, I'll try to move this one as well. Okay. I hope everyone can see the presentation. And so I am Dila, and today I will be talking about mediating tangible embodied experiences through multidisciplinary collaborations. Oh, it's because if it's PDF, I think I need to go like this. Okay. So Nuno already gave an introduction about me, but I would like to talk a little bit about myself and background to give a context for the artistic explorations that I'm undertaking. So I'm an artist, designer, and I have a background in textile design, and my textile practice specifically focuses on weaving and designing interactive textiles. And I have a background in being a yoga instructor, and personally I am curious to explore improvisational dance practices and improvisational movement practices. So I am interested in how we make sense through our moving bodies and through the material engagements, and I'm trying to understand how we can augment our bodily experiences through kinesthetic interactions and through tangible material interactions. And also I'm trying to explore how we can enhance the everyday aesthetic experiences of our lives through these interactive technologies. So my works generally, I conduct my works in the context of care and well-being. I'm trying to understand how these technologies can help people to develop body awareness and self and relational awareness. And this kind of comes from my own experiences of experiencing different chronic conditions. And also as a Turkish textile artist, I am very much interested in Anatolian symbolism, motifs, and specifically rug patterns, and how we can use technologies to mediate the stories of these unspoken motifs. So today I will be exemplifying projects that are kind of touching to these topics. I've been involved in different arts residency projects, and some of my artistic research have been undertaken under the research funds or creative industry funds. I will start with introducing very short art, science, technology residency projects, just to show the diversity of the works that I am engaging. So the first one is, to clarify, the first one is not my project. I was hired as a interactive costume designer in this IBO project that is run by artist Ellen Perman. It was also funded by START's residency, and the residency was hosted in Tallinn University. So in this project, it's an artificial intelligence brainwave opera, and in this project, the performer is in verbal communication with the artificial intelligence, and she wears a EEG headset that reads her data regarding her emotional responses, and the costume changes colors according to her emotional responses. So my job in this collaboration was to design the costume that the performer wear. And the second project is called Odyssey for One. This is an art residency project, again supported by START's EE, and it was hosted in Tallinn University in collaboration with Electron Art. And I developed this project in collaboration with the theater director, Mihkel Kohava. So we try to understand how we can create an immersive interactive audio game journey through interactive technologies. What we did is that we developed variable sensors that people can wear it and use it to play the game. So our game was inspired by the story of Odysseus, and there were some tasks to be completed to finish this in-person, real-life immersive game. And we developed two different variables. One was worn on the arm. The one on the arm has a motion sensor, and it has an electroactivity dermal sensor which reads the emotional data of the wearer. And there was a second costume which was worn on the torso, and that was light emitting according to the data that it was gathering from the electrodermal activity sensor. So the people who were playing the game, they were receiving an audio feedback and audio cue regarding what task they need to complete it, and the sensors and the actuators they wore was giving them a clue and sense of accomplishment. So these were the two residency projects that I wanted to present. And now I will move on to the projects that I done as NAR Interactive. It's an artist duo by me, Dila Demir and Vincenzo Madakhile. Vincenzo is a PhD researcher in Oslo University, and he's a sound artist and a technology developer. And together as NAR Interactive, we are developing interactive performances and interactive installations. So I will present two works that we developed together. And I will also talk about a little bit of our working process, because he's in Oslo and I'm in Tallinn, so we most of the time work remotely, but our work involves very much materials too, but I think we establish a very good way of working remotely, also bringing the tangibility and materiality in our works. So the first work is called Pain Creature. So to give a little bit context about Pain Creature actually developed as part of my PhD project. So in my PhD, I was exploring how interactive variable textiles as body extensions can promote body awareness in the context of chronic pain. So I was trying to understand how we can turn this very implicit, agonizing experience into material, tangible artifacts and put it on the body again to provide a different communications, to flourish new perceptions about chronic pain. And to clarify, my PhD doesn't involve the performance aspect, but my and Vincenzo's curiosity about performance led us to develop a performance after designing the artifacts. So I said we work mostly remotely, but part of the Pain Creature developed actually in person. So how I've met Vincenzo is that I was a visiting PhD at KTH Royal Institute of Technology in Stockholm, and he was back then working there as a research assistant. And we decided to collaborate on designing the Pain Creature because I wanted to make it sound, and he was a sound artist and technology developer. It was an interesting collaboration because most of my works, to design most of my works, I go back to my bodily experiences and I try to materialize them. So this time I also had to communicate my experiences to Vincenzo so he can materialize them as like sound. So I done some movement experiments to understand the different qualities of pain so I can translate them into material, and I started to make material ideations based on the pain themes that I gleaned from my own bodily experiences. And then with Vincenzo, we started to ideate how we can translate these material qualities into sound and how we can create these interactions. And as a result, we designed the Pain Creature, and I came back to Tallinn. So we decided to, as I said, we decided to turn this Pain Creature into a performative piece, and then we started to work remotely to develop our performance. But also the development happened with an in-person meetings as well. But most of the time we were working remotely. I was trying to understand how I can move with the artifact that we designed and what are the capabilities of this artifact. And we were also conceptually developing this performance piece. And then we had some in-person meetings in Tallinn to further develop our artifact before our first performance. And we also recently published a paper on the interdisciplinary collaboration of designing this artifact for dance performance in NIME conference. So we had our first performance in Tallinn here in 2023 at Space. And as I said, we published in NIME, and as part of NIME conference, we also got the chance of presenting our performance in Gaudeamus Festival in Utrecht. And actually in 3 days, we will be in Stockholm to perform our work there in Myriad Art Festival. So another work we developed is called Woven Narratives Immersive Rugs. And this project is supported by the European Commission's World Partnership Project. So as I mentioned previously that I'm very much interested in Anatolian motifs and Anatolian rug patterns, and all of these rug patterns have some stories and meanings behind. And with this project, we wanted to tell the stories of these patterns through touch and auditory mediums. So we started to develop this interactive, immersive rug that mediates sound and touch interaction. And of course, the visual and the sound inspiration comes from the Anatolian rug motifs. And this project mostly developed in remote settings where we started to work on the conceptual development of the work, and I was developing different materials to test the tactile qualities of the materials before deciding the final material that I was going to weave the rug. And Vincenzo was studying the Anatolian music and getting some inspiration from the stories of the Anatolian rugs. And of course, we had in-person meetings to finalize our artifacts. And how we do is that when Vincenzo come here, we tested the interaction. He prepared the sensors. We finalized everything, and then I only had to finalize the back panel, sensor panel for the rug, using the sensors that he left me before our exhibition. And I was originally going to use a textile panel, back panel, because it could have been a lightweight panel to use it and to carry it, but it didn't really work, so I had to use a wooden panel, and I figured out how I can actually make that wood piece fit into a luggage so I can carry with me for exhibitions. So I made some leather system and placed the sensors on them, which actually at the end fit in my big luggage, which was a success. And we got the chance to present our work in Milan Design Week this year in April. It was very interesting to see how people interacted with the piece and what kind of reaction they gave to us in terms of our interactive installation. And with this, my presentation will end, so I just show you what kind of works we have. I develop personally, but also as part of an artist on our interactive, and basically our work continue within those contexts. And thank you.
Thank you very much, Dila. We're going to have a longer Q&A later, but right away, is there any question you want to ask to Dila right away? Just a spontaneous.
I'm back.
Yeah, there you go.
Ali, thank you for the presentation. Just a quick one, because you started with the idea mentioning your background in aesthetic design.
Yeah.
And interweaving that into your project. So kind of a broad question is, what aspects from aesthetic design principles have been adopted consistently throughout your work? Like what has been inspiring from that research or those practices?
Thank you for the question. I think I can say that somaesthetic principle and somaesthetic interaction design approaches was always there in my design and artistic explorations. Not necessarily on a conscious level, but with my PhD, I really started to work with soma design and soma aesthetics interaction. So this is, I guess, I would say my PhD and Pain Creature is the turn where I started to consciously apply these methods and really take this like a methodological approach in designing my artistic works.
Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you. That's a
Thank
nice
you.
answer.
Okay, I think that's all.
Thank you so much. So next, we have Lale Erić Dobrivoje, who leads the Department of International Cooperation at Serbia's Center for Promotion of Science, CPN, since 2015. He initiated and developed numerous public events and initiatives in Serbia and abroad, including European Researchers' Night in Belgrade in 2012, Art Science Program in 2014, Scientics NCP for Serbia 2016, Climate Capsule 2021, and Climate Platform 2023. Lale currently manages the FASIH project as chief coordinator and acts as a national coordinator of the European Digital Deal projects, both funded through the Creative Europe program. He serves as a member of the program committees at the Petnica Science Center, the Belgrade Open School, and the EC Site Association, as well as the EC Expert Group of the National Points of Reference on Scientific Information. An art historian by education, he was also the elected president of the Docomomo Serbia, a national chapter of the International Committee for Documentation and Conservation of Modern Movement in Architecture in the period 2013-2019. Thank you very much, Lale, for coming to Estonia and to present for us. So,
Thanks. Thanks for your introduction,
sharing.
you know. I just need to inform you that most of these positions are volunteer work, so not to expect that much from my side.
So that should do the trick. And now this should be sharing. And now, if we take this out of the way, there should be this.
Perfect. Thank you so much for your introduction, Nuno, and thanks for the opportunity. It's a pleasure to being here at the MODINA Seminar within the STL Festival. I'm somehow feeling a bit of outsider in this community because obviously I'm not coming from the contemporary dance community, and I realized actually that when you heard about the name of our institution, Center for the Promotion of Science, which is also something that we need to deal with. Just a sec. Okay. I would need to give you a brief introduction, actually, who we are and what we are doing. So, Center is a public entity under the Ministry of Science, and we are not so satisfied with our name either, because it was given by decision makers at the ministry before we were established in 2010. So practically we are Center of Science Communication, and we are doing diverse program activities and deploying numerous methodologies in order to open up science towards other social or professional groups in order to increase the, let's say, in a way, scientific literacy, but also to share knowledge about science and result of contemporary research that can be truly relevant nowadays and that can affect us as individuals and also as a global community. In that sense, we've been undertaking numerous activities from the very beginning of our existence, though we are also partly a funding entity as we are funding small science promotion projects in Serbia, a bit larger citizen science projects starting from last year. Currently we have one open call, and also art and science collaboration that will be in focus on my presentation today. We are also part of several major European associations. Excited is actually the name. Also ESOF, EXA, and Scientix, covering different aspects of work of science centers, citizen science entities and associations, STEAM education, of course, at the very beginning, and many others. And I also brought some brochures, some materials here, including the first ever English edition of our magazine Elements that we are publishing each 3 months since 2015. So far we had more than 40 editions, and at the beginning of this year we published kind of a collection of essays, so just for you to realize one of the aspects of our work and how we are dealing with these elements. We're also extremely active regarding European collaborations, and from the very beginning we've been involved in many projects. The first one was European Researchers' Night that was initiated in Serbia in 2011, but our first project in Belgrade was funded in 2012, and since then more than 70 different projects, at the moment 17 active projects, mostly through Horizon 2020 and current Horizon Europe, because we are, let's say, belonging to this scientific environment, though we are not doing research ourselves. We are not a research entity, but kind of a supporting mechanism in order to establish some functional gaps between research ecology and other groups, and also to assist scientists when they are communicating their knowledge and their research. And almost at the beginning, we realized that it's not sufficient just to invite artists to illustrate beautifully or to visualize scientific content. There is something really substantial that can allow us to establish a place where researchers and artists can work together. And that's how our Art Plus Science program was initiated in 2014 and funded through the first large Creative Europe collaboration that we've been involved in. It was so-called Digital Art and Science Network that was coordinated by the Ars Electronica from Linz. For sure, our major partner in this regard. And currently in Belgrade at the Botanical Garden, we had a annual. Sorry, I will return to that later on. At the moment, we have several ongoing projects that are developing, producing different content for our Art Plus Science program, because it changed its context, its framework. It, in a way, mitigated from being just an annual exhibition for which we are providing productions, inviting artworks, presenting, and providing some supporting and parallel events, to something that happens throughout the year. So it became, in 2021, during the pandemic, actually kind of ongoing, continuous activity with numerous outcomes and numerous public events, public formats that can bring different elements and different aspects to our framework. Of course, the major part is established through open calls for productions from residency works, and actually that's how we got to know Nuno and Julia and Claudia. They got our major award within the European Digital Deal, currently major Art Plus Science project that we are involved in, actually the project that allowed us to run all these activities together, of course, with some others. And next year, actually, we will celebrate 10th exhibition of art and science. So the program was initiated in 2014, first activities in 15. However, first Art Plus Science exhibition in Belgrade was held in 2016. We also have a art and science portal, artandscience.rs, which is mostly bilingual. Everything is in Serbian. However, major parts and major segments are translated into English. We are seeing that portal not only as our place for publishing our own activities, but even more to share partner activities opportunities for both researchers and artists in Serbia and beyond, announcing exhibitions, especially in the region, that can be reachable for our audience, announcing conferences, research interdisciplinary collaborations, anything that can, in a way, support and further enhance our community. Because once we started with this whole program, we've been able to identify wonderful individuals on both sides that were practicing and participating in in many major interdisciplinary research. However, we were lacking system that can support them, financial support, also kind of association, dedicated gallery space, or anyone that can, in a way, bring people together and provide them with continuous framework and continuous support. So Art Plus Science is a portal for sharing information, but also bringing people together. As I said, the current ongoing project is European Digital Deal, one of the biggest Creative Europe projects that is currently run in Serbia. It brings together 13 partners from 11 European countries with the goal to explore and to provide kind of critical assessment of the impact of emerging technologies on European society, on our traditional values as well as democratic values, or ordinary affairs of people, of individuals. And in this context, actually, we provided a kind of challenge for our awarded team, and that was the position of elders community in Serbia within this overwhelming digital transition. It isn't, of course, the local thing. It's something that is very much affecting elders across the globe, I would say, but in our case it is really critical, and we wanted to create interdisciplinary collaboration. We got around 25 submissions for that call, and we selected the Estonian team who will work on that for the following 6-7 months, we'll see. But the presentation of the work will be at the Central Art Plus Science exhibition next year in October in Belgrade. As I said, as I briefly mentioned a few minutes ago, last week we opened the current 9th Art Plus Science exhibition at a really beautiful venue of Botanical Garden in Belgrade. It's a historical place. They were celebrating this year 150 years of their existence. So for us, actually, we've seen that as a fantastic stage. As our guiding theme this year is the impact of humans and technology on nature and biodiversity. And the Botanical Garden, which belongs to the University of Belgrade, Faculty of Biology, but also hosts the Institute of Botanics, is a research entity, functional research entity, where researchers are exploring numerous topics. And actually that helped us to establish direct communication and the collaboration between artists and researchers, wherein actually we produced 3 artworks as original pieces that were premiered here, but also localized numerous international projects and works by other local artists, with the help, of course, of researchers from the garden. We have 12 installations that are spread all over the garden, and in a way they are opening up a garden from an alternative perspective, having in mind actually, I would say, 2 mutually inspired topics. The first one is the artificiality of the garden itself, because being protected, of course, we are all considering garden as something supernatural, something not belonging to our world, something that is preserved from some past times. However, the garden is a completely artificial unit, because it collects, it showcases plants and species from all over the world that couldn't exist in one single ecology. And those species can't communicate without being preserved in special conditions within one garden. On the other side, the locally truly important element is also the position of the garden, which is, as I said, quite preserved compared to other natural elements and other natural habitats across our country, which are really in relatively bad condition, quite affected by massive urbanization in major cities, but also quite neglected in some remote areas without adequate human populations. So based on that line, we actually tried to explore the meaning, the purpose of the garden nowadays, what it can offer to individuals, to artists, but also to general audience, and how it can inspire us to act in this really complex time when we are all facing severe consequences of climate change. And you can see just some presentation. There's, of course, fantastic greenhouse from 19th century as a similar feature in most of European gardens. However, I would like to focus on 3 of our productions that maybe can be more contextualized in the framework of Modina and the festival, and also what your guys doing here or elsewhere. These are all our production. The first one is one by Jasna Jovicevic, musician, composer, multi-instrumentalist from Serbia, from the city of Subotica. And so far we are seeing in this collaboration as the most successful one, as she did a research residency at the Faculty of Electrical Engineering in Belgrade, probably the most prestigious school in Belgrade at our university. And although it was in 2019, it was about neurosciences. I will show you some details later. It proved to be, for us actually, it proved that it is possible to involve and to establish that kind of collaboration into a system which is mostly conservative and not ready for accept this kind of communication, this kind of exchange. But it was really highly fruitful. The second one, which is also relevant for you, it is a dance performance Binema by Marko Milic. As I heard, your collaborator or something, artist that belongs to your network, which did a kind of analog opening up of artificial intelligence. And you will see also some materials after. And finally, the very specific, probably the most complex project we did is called AI VI. AI, of course, is AI. VI is in Serbian, veštačka inteligencija, which means artificial in intelligence. And really large interdisciplinary team try to provide some kind of intro into current state of AI back in 2021 during the heavy period of pandemic, where actually we were all semi or fully locked, and we were not able to establish some kind of direct communication. So they use the scenery of our city in order to actually inform citizens through kind of a locative gaming approach. So they didn't use body for dancing, but they used audience to walk around the city and to explore dots that are potentially or directly linked with the deployment of AI system, either regarding surveillance, either regarding control, either regarding knowledge and accessibility of knowledge and who is entitled to enter that realm, either actually to discuss what AI means. And of course, since it was a gaming mechanism and it was in open space, so actually everyone was invited to join, it allowed, in a way, individual approaches, because they offer some paths that should be ideally explored, but based on your responses and based on your thoughts, based on your perspectives, actually you will be faced with different outcomes of your decisions. And that also very well illustrated our notion that AI isn't something final, something determinative in a way. It is something that is still open for further discussion, and actually we were trying to explain back then, much before the whole hype of ChatGPT and the explosion of generative models, that we should try to use AI for very much creative endeavors and creative actions, and also try to initiate some kind of wider social discussion about the position, about the possible points that can lead to some furtherly negative outcomes. So the team behind that project mapped the very center of Belgrade, illustrated its approach by linking AI with really concrete examples like city cameras or some elements that were introduced during the pandemic, and also focusing on aspects that are linked with education, with learning, with knowledge, and of course with contemporary AI research. And for us, that was really a kind of fantastic, in a way, challenge, even more something that directed us toward the program next year, where the whole exhibition was dedicated, the whole Art plus Science exhibition was dedicated to AI, and the possibilities of use and critically assessed AI and related technologies in the program in 2021. As I said, Binema was premiered that year at this major AI exhibition in Belgrade, held at the Museum of Science and Technology. It is a step in a continuous research and continuous exploration by choreographer Marko Milić, who established our locally famous Stanica Center for Contemporary Dance. And unlike your projects here that are mostly focused on use of technology and establishing of kind of communication between humans and the tech aspects, in Marko's attempt, actually, he used, with his team, of course, he used contemporary dance in order to illustrate algorithmic or really technical processes within AI system. So again, it was during pandemic. It was again challenging to establish direct communication between dancers and between audience. At the end, we achieved that. But his idea, and as a result, of course, of the collaboration with the research team, was to provide kind of movement for specific aspects within use of AI system, for collecting data and information, for providing some really everyday activities like taking selfies. The idea was that dancers who were spread across the area of the museum should interact, but from a distance, with the audience, and try to collect as much information as they can, also taking specific roles. And roles were given based on one side from the technical language, because the project was developed with the mentorship of two professors from University of Novi Sad, Faculty of Technical Sciences, who got awarded with the Serbia Science Fund AI project, Clean Cadet, in order to somehow explain the processes within deployment of AI system. Again, it was much before this whole generative language models thing. So at that moment, we were not aware about possibilities and opportunities that will arise quite soon. After gathering information from the audience, the dancers themselves would decide about the further processing of this information, trying to translate them into their individual dance, and also finally as a group dance, which was the culmination of whole program. And we did two different performances. Both of them were distinctive because of the reaction and the communication with the audience. And for us, again, that communication proved that even in such a tough period of pandemic, the topic of AI can really attract people, and that we should even try to involve not only artists in this program, but schools, children, teachers from schools, in order to speak about AI, of course, on different levels. And based on that, actually, we established some other mostly educational programs afterwards. And finally, the last expert here comes from the performance of the work I sit and worry about her from by Jasna Jovicevic. It was done in collaboration with Lab for Neuromagnetic Research at the Faculty of Electrical Engineering, and actually it was kind of a combination between humans and tech, but from a totally different perspective. The artists and the research team behind that work only use brains of selected individuals. And however, the brains that were connected through brain-computer interfaces for measuring brain waves are not the same brains that were used during preparing this artwork, and the whole process lasted for about 8 months. After a while, it appears that each individual brain can understand the process where it is placed and can adjust its behavior towards sensations that it was faced with. The artist's idea from the very beginning was, let's try to manipulate with humans' perception, emotions, feelings, by playing specific music. She's a multi-instrumentalist, so she is performing playing on different instruments, and also by providing them with some emotional hits. And in this case, because the whole project has a strong female-oriented perspective, the story was about mothers and daughters, about their connections, their relations, their intertwining, and artists also collected samples from daughters of women that are sitting here, and actually the voices of their daughters were mixed with her music, trying to, of course, influence and inspire reaction of their brains. And how we know that their brains were responding? Because they were connected, and we were observing their brain waves on interfaces, and actually artists at the stage was getting feedback from the research team, and then she was able to adjust her performance. And it was kind of an emotional journey, starting from, let's say, 0 point, and then moving up there and going down and changing their sentiments, their attitude, their mood throughout that 45 minutes long performance. And the whole process actually proved that even by doing such a simple activity like playing music in specific manner, actually we can control and we can manipulate our brains and actually us as humans. And the work was really influential for both sides because artists continue in this direction. Unfortunately, pandemic came and then our plans were not possible to be achieved. But on the other side, the whole process that research team had with the artists concluded in creating specific workshops for students at the faculty. So the outcome of that process was also integrated at the Faculty of Electrical Engineering, and for us it was really, let's say, a major milestone when we effectively produce such an outcome. And also one interesting detail is that the whole performance was premiered at the Gallery of Serbian Academy of Sciences and Arts, let's say the most conservative entity in our community, and for us this was also important to show such a piece in this setting. And finally, just to announce, as I said, we have 4 ongoing productions. One with a team from Tallinn University. Another one is about climate oracle called Milena through Climate Europe 2 project. And just now we are finalizing preparations for the start of 2 projects dealing with industrial heritage of Belgrade, again through Art and Science Key and through the Creative Europe project FASIH. So thank you so much. I also brought some catalogs from the exhibition in Belgrade. Also a calendar of catalog is bilingual in both Serbian and English, so you'll be able to understand. The calendar of events is only in Serbian and Cyrillic, but I guess some of you at least will get some information. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Any impromptu questions for Lale? Of course, we'll have more in the discussion, but if there's any question already, let us know. Then we'll move on to the next speaker and we'll have opportunity for more questions later. So I'll introduce the next speaker. Next speaker is Taavet Jansen, who is an interdisciplinary artist and researcher whose work integrates movement, digital technologies, and interactive performance. His practice is focused on the dissolution of boundaries between human presence and digital environments. Jansen has presented his performances and installations in a variety of settings, including theaters, galleries, and virtual spaces. These presentations have engaged diverse audiences through the use of interactive and participatory frameworks. He has held several academic roles, including serving as the head of the Performing Arts Department at the University of Tartu Viljandi Cultural Academy. His artistic research and publications contribute to critical discourse on the role of technology in the performing arts, highlighting the transformative potential of new media in reshaping conceptions of physicality and presence. Jansen is currently completing a PhD at the Estonian Academy of Arts. So I'll pass the floor to Taavet. Meanwhile,
one technical question. Which one is a microphone we're streaming?
we are actually streaming through the microphone of the laptop. So
okay,
don't
so
worry.
I speak to this microphone.
The speakers will speak for you.
Okay.
Yeah, in a sense. So let's switch the sharing to this one. We can close that one and stop share. And now let's share again. This one, share. This is interesting. Okay.
Hello, I will read my presentation because I'm not able to improvise such a short period of time and somehow concentrate my thoughts. As Nuno said, I'm Taavet Jansen, and I've been combining theater and technology for 19 years. So my presentation will be, I'm not going to talk about my projects and and how amazing they are. I'm more thinking of like conceptually, what does it mean to combine theater and technology, and why does it work and why it doesn't work. So within these 19 years, and this time includes many projects, a master degree from the Amsterdam Theatre School and my doctoral studies at the Estonian Academy of Arts. And throughout my research, my favorite formats have been artistic experiments. During a short residency, we test a prepared technical solution and work on the different artistic ways how to use it. These experiments have often resulted in an art production. They have been developed into a theater performance or an installation by me or by somebody else. I have heard criticism that my experiment starts with technology. Usually the correct way is to start with an artistic idea and then look for a corresponding technical solution. But I don't believe in that. I think a technological framework generates new meanings by itself, and you have to see them in order to understand them. But performers and theaters are not in a hurry to take advantage of these new possibilities developed in such residencies and experiments. And I am curious about the reason for this. If I draw a timeline of technological development, and newest technologies are always at the end, constantly evolving and moving forward. Art and theaters lag with their enthusiasm to adopt new technologies in their practice. As technology advances faster, the gap between them grows. Why is this gap growing and can it be stopped? I'll share some thoughts on why such a hole exists and why we can't fix it. One reason is conceptual. In theater, one person watches another and tries to live through their experiences. As long as technology supports and enhances that connection, it works well. But when technology starts to take over or become its own agent, it often makes viewers uncomfortable or resentful. Sometimes it feels like the people's opposition to technology is almost religious, and if it's inherently wrong. No one knows why it happens, but I have experienced it a lot. But our lives are already a blend of digital and physical, with most of our communication and entertainment digitally mediated. Yet, for some reason, people don't want to see that in theater. And the second reason is the reliability of the technology. As long as I've been involved in theater, the reliability of new technology has always been a problem. It starts now. I have to move it further. The reliability of new technology has always been a problem. Technology has to reach a certain maturity to justify its use. This was the case, for example, with the advent of DVDs. No one in theater trusted it because the screen would turn blue, the play and pause button wouldn't come off the screen, and the DVD could start to skip. Good old VCR was much more reliable. By the time they settled on DVD, innovators were already using computers to play video. They crashed, files were deleted, etc., but eventually it became a standard in all theaters. And this level of proven reliability versus interesting new solutions is always a problem in developing unique technological solutions for theaters. For use in theaters, the solution has to work 100% of the time. Otherwise, it will ruin the performance. To make an experimental solution work 100%, you need a fully functional form, software, technical solution, but there is usually neither the time, money, or interest to develop this in the theatre production cycle. The third reason why it is challenging to use technologically innovative solutions in theatre is a learning curve. In my experience, about 50% of time, the problem is not with the theatre technical stuff, because many are happy to learn new things. But even for them, you still have to give them a working solution. They will not learn to troubleshoot problems or do some experimental calibration. But apart from the technical stuff, the main problem is usually the performers, whose primary focus is on their own performance and who do not want to hear about distractions caused by, for example, technical limitations, which may limit their movement, gestures, or speed of movement, or whatever. More recently, there have been experiments with AI on stage, where actors are challenged to perform a duet with a partner who does not respect the agreements or can take the performance somewhere entirely out of their control. In the case of stream theatre, actors had adjust to perform without a physical audience in the room. This requires performers also to experiment in uncharted territory and learn to perform with technological limitations. Fourth, and not last, is the artistic reliability of any innovative solution. Artistic reliability means creating something with clear artistic value. It isn't easy to assess the value of a new approach when it doesn't follow established forms. First, it's hard for creators to charge the value when they haven't seen anything like it before. Second, how can this new form be presented in the artistic value of experiment can't be understood? Second, I repeat that sentence. Second, how can this new form be presented in the artistic value of the experiment can't be understood? The director has to step out of his comfort zone and develop maybe a new artistic framework in which the new solution can make sense. However, that requires understanding the new idea, and I think this understanding can come through experimenting with it. This process requires time and exploration. Having worked in theatre for many years and experimented with new technology, I never understood why all these incredible new technologies are not used in theatres. When I started looking for reasons, I found myself innovating the past. In my practice, I work with digital technology that bridges physical spaces in an artistic context. I look for ways to unite viewers and performers without having them physically in the same place. More precisely, for the past 4 years, I've been working on the anatomy of online performance, looking for ways to bring performers and audiences together using digital technologies. Technologically, this kind of innovation is old news. As it turned out in 2020, for performance institution, the concept of such digitally mediated performance is too new and too dubious value, and online performance is something that only some of them know how to do or want to do. But it can't be said that audience is not interested. For example, our project Memento, which could be seen both in theatre and online, was seen 10 times more online. In Estonian, a niche performance, an improvisation, it was seen by 1,500 people. And this number of viewers shows that there are many viewers who would not come to the physical performance. So, I was in a place where a theatre wanted to reach its audience. There is a problem. X number of people won't physically come to the theatre. Some audiences are willing to watch a performance digitally and even pay for it. Some technologies can solve this problem. As I mentioned, I was researching ways to solve this puzzle. the need to increase the accessibility to the culture and the development of digital platforms are even clearly mentioned in Estonian Development Plan Culture 2030. However, I reached a point where theatres were not interested in solving this problem. Audiences were not interested in solving it either. So I found myself trying to solve the problem what the parties were not interested in solving. I decided to stop hovering on this timeline between the innovation and the theatre's current position. I had to choose to go back to theatre and try to develop the technological and artistic capacity there, or move on, try to get into a technological innovation crowd and continue my research there. And accept that sometimes theatre people don't understand what I'm doing, even if I explain it several times. Nonetheless, in my head, I'm innovating theatre, or rather, I'm looking for concepts from theatre to experiment within a framework of new technologies. This friction and complementarity between technology and art will continue forever. Today, the gap between the technology used in theatre and state-of-the-art technologies is already very wide. You would think that as technology evolves, new and deeper ideas will emerge about how technology can complement theatrical performance. But I think it doesn't have anything to do with the complexity of a technology. I think the intrigue of the relationship between technology and art is inherent. I watched Chris's performance yesterday, and I compared it in my head with the performances he did 20 years ago. I would say he is working with very similar topics, and then and now, and it doesn't have to do anything with the technology he is using. I would like to highlight two issues, what I see that would change in the near future concerning theatre and technology. The role of the spectators. I see the role of a passive spectator diminishing. I see a growing role of an active spectator, the potential for the spectator to participate in the performance creation. We watch the content and we film ourselves watching the content, and we are filming ourselves while watching how someone else is watching the content. The performing art can't remain unaffected by this remix culture. So many people today, with their journeys, alter egos and personas, just have to start influencing the performance creation cycle at some point. So new ways of interacting with the audience, both technologically and conceptually, require new artistic input. Before the invention of recorded music, people would get together, some would play an instrument, the others would dance. This kind of co-creation has been around for a very long time. It is said that the remix culture has brought back this kind of co-creation. When my days are full of work, school, news, family, podcast, Spotify, Netflix, creating my own content and watching other people's content, it's a lot to ask from me to come into a dark room where I have to be silent to passively watch a performance. And the second is a production cycle. The theatrical production cycle needs to become more transparent and open to innovation. Currently, theatres have perfectly functioning production cycles. But if you would want to integrate some new solutions, extravagant features into this cycle, it's not so easy. Questions such as, at what production stage should the technology be introduced? Who needs it? How much will it cost and how will it affect the production schedule and budget, while there is no certainty that these innovations will improve the performance? I am working as a researcher at another Creative Europe project, Acute, developing a handbook for theatres that want to incorporate new technologies in their performances. If you are interested, you can find out more about this project from this address, acuteproject.eu. So, history has shown how technology has been used to amplify the impact of art experience throughout art history. just as cave paintings were essentially a form of early visual storytelling, like an ancient TV. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Taavet. Any question for Taavet before we move on to the panel? Please, yeah. Go ahead.
Thanks for the presentation. I have a question for your triangle problem. So you said your own work is in theater also includes online performances with the audience. And the problem is having both events happening, because what I understand that some theaters use online just for PR. But you said having this parallel stream of real physical performance in a local place with local people and the online parallel event, is that some problem you see? The friction is making both events happening at the same time, or is it a contradiction, or is it you don't want to have it as a PR, just advertising the theater local space, or what is the problem?
No, the problem, what I mentioned here, was that there is a problem, there is an existing problem that some people don't want or cannot come to see a performance. And there is a technological solution for that. And there is theaters who want to incorporate new audiences, but nobody's interested solving this problem. That was my context, what I meant. But back to your question, I think these hybrid performances are very complicated to do. There is what my experiences with hybrid performances are. You are doing the two performances simultaneously, one for online audience, one for physical audience. And if you don't take one job seriously, then these audiences will be mad. Either of them or both.
Did you maybe get any feedback from the online spectators? And did you make some conclusions why that occurred?
Okay, now I have to go into my research, into practice. Yes, I did. We did with the Memento project. What happened hybridly in physical space and online. There we worked with. We did a study with an online audience, and there I've been working mainly with interaction and improvisation as a main vehicles to generate this here and now feeling of liveness. So we had a setup where physical audience watched a performance. Performance was improvised, and online audience could upvote what is going on next, and physical audience didn't know anything about it. And we didn't. The upvoting was that they couldn't upvote the action, what the actors would do, but the surrounding, the sound and light design of a space. So that was cue for actors that okay, something is changing, and people online audience wants to move energy up or down. Basically, that was two options they had. And we translated into artistic forms, and we were looking like how artistically use this audience interaction without screwing up the power relationship between the spectator and the viewer. So that was our research. And then I did study with the online audience and also physical audience. And physical audience, there was like 50-50. 50% totally ignored online audience, and the 50% was mad that we are watching a performance and somebody else is controlling it, like what the heck is going on, and they are not even here. Or somehow they were like, and the online audience, they participated in this voting process like 93% of times. Only 3 didn't, or no, only 7% didn't, or maybe it was 91, 9% didn't. And as came out from the questionnaire, the reasons were like technical. We didn't understand, it didn't work, or like something didn't function, and that was like technical reasons. So like we continue the second iteration of a project in this February. We learn from a previous one and do a new one with new actors.
So the audience likes to
actually, there came out relationship from those questionnaire came out the relationship between the engagement and feeling of a control over actors. So the audience members who felt that they have control over actors, they're more engaged than the respondents who didn't. So there was something to work on. It wasn't big, but there was like, you can see it. So that was something interesting we would like to look into.
So maybe now we I bring back Lale and Dila, or ask Lale and Dila to return to the stage. And can we sit the three of you here? We don't have much time, so I had a big list of questions, but I'll ask one of those 5. And then also pass the microphone to anyone in the audience or in Zoom to ask these questions. I can stop sharing this, and maybe just share that. Yeah. Sorry. Okay, great. Okay, good.
If you want to sit down and be seen behind me.
Okay, there we go. So I can even switch off the projector, maybe, no?
Yes.
Okay, good. Less technology. So maybe I'll move away from this podium of laptops. Thank you, the three of you, for your wonderful, provocative, and interesting presentations. If I pick one of my 5 questions I had there, it would be this. So I'll trying to find a common point between all of you. So all of you work with multidisciplinary collaborations, and all of you with art, science, and a bit of research in different roles, as researchers or as artists or as promoters of these collaborations, but all of you work in this kind of Venn diagram of these different ingredients. So what advice would you give to artist that is either starting their practice now or who is shifting from a more traditional practice to a more multidisciplinary practice or more research-oriented in this art science? What advice would you give them so that they would nourish these collaborations towards a successful outcome? So advice for the young or the new entrants to this field? Maybe.
Thank you, Nuno, for the question. I think maybe one important thing, at least for me, was that, so I've been involved in like a multidisciplinary collaborations in not knowing whom I will collaborate, because it was in the residence project and it was like a collaborative project. So I didn't apply for the residencies with my collaborator, but the residency brought the collaborators together. So in those settings, I think it is very important to like clearly communicate the expectations. So you would have a better understanding on like what all the parties involved want and what they can bring in. And I think maybe sometimes we can also be a little bit stubborn in our own ideas or artistic directions, but I think it is important to allow others, people's ideas and feedback into our works, especially if we are doing multidisciplinary, interdisciplinary collaborations, then we can actually enrich our works. But on the other hand, because currently I am developing my artistic works as part of an artist duo, so I work with one particular person, and we have a pretty much mutual understanding of what we want to do and how we want to work, and we have a developed trust between ourselves. So I think the trust is also very important, that he trusts me in my own expertise and I trust him in his own expertise, because sometimes things can also go wrong, not only to having a mutual understanding of what we are doing, but sometimes the problems will occur during the process. But I think the trust comes into a play in that sense that if you have a distrusting relationship, then you can more calmly manage the situation, which will end up with like a good collaborative works. I don't know, I think these are like kind of my takeaways from my collaborations so far.
Well, we are seeing ourselves mostly as mediators, as facilitators of that project. And by now, in the last 10 years, we've been establishing numerous methodologies and formats in order to bring artists and researchers together. And some of them happened, somehow quite naturally. And we've been able to identify people who are collaborating, then we were providing them with some additional support or navigating them through our program or focusing them on specific topics. However, there is one really specific, we've been calling that program Art plus Science plus CPN, and that was kind of creating artificial community. When you organize gatherings and meetups for, let's say, 20 to 30 people of all kinds of profiles with different expertises, and then we were facing them with different content and giving them some training and some information, some lectures. Of course, in the context of the program, whether it was AI or neurosciences or it really varies. And then we were putting them in a position to create teams within those communities. So we were dividing them in several groups, and then as a team they ideally would be able to create kind of a proposal. And of course that requires a lot of time and efforts and resources, but at the end we would be selecting one or even more proposals for the final production, and the whole process lasted for, I don't know, 7, 8 months, 9 months ideally. So throughout 1 year to be presented at the following Art plus Science exhibition. There is also ideal scenario, and I've seen yesterday from the resume of one of the speakers that can also happen, and that's when you have researchers with some formal training or some knowledge, some expertise, master maybe in arts, and of course other way around as well when you have researchers with artistic background. And in that case, at least you have professionals that are able to understand both differences and similarities between two disciplines, because we are making space for collaborations, but we are still aware that there is a big difference between research work and artistic work, and that we need to allow all of them to feel comfortable and to keep their knowledge, their values in just, let's say, novel system, novel framework.
Yeah, if I should suggest something, then I think most important is to find your peers and just to find the community. And like what you said, like it's just to find community with who you could discuss your topics or your interests, because it sounds a bit like downer, but there are like so many people who don't care about your research at all. So, and you don't believe them, because you just have to find the right community, and then you can move further with your.
So the importance of community and the peers. So I'd like to pass to our audience as well. Do you have, now that we have this privilege of having the three presenters on stage, any question you may have? I don't know if you're on Zoom. Is anything popped up? Not at the moment. Otherwise, I have a list of questions, but does anyone? Sure. Does anyone have any? Anyone from the audience wants to add something? No. Then I would go back to the topic of today's panel, which is the future also, present and future. So present was well, I think, typified by your presentations. It was well mapped out. I think your presentations complemented each other quite nicely. So, looking forward, and of course, each of you will have very different views, which will be interesting, I think, because you come from different perspectives. But if you let's look forward 5 years or something like this. So let's look at the future, especially not art science in general, but focusing on performing arts and combination of performing arts and technology. And there were topics that many of you focused, AI, for example. So all of you, I think, in your presentations talked about AI. Some of you talked also about Taavet, in particular, talked a bit about audience participation and online. And so there were these kind of key topics, at least in my head, that stuck to my brain. What other key topics do you see? Because you've listed the projects you're working on, but probably you're thinking ahead. What topics would you like to work on, or what topics do you see? Maybe you personally don't want to work on, but do you see that there's a vast potential in a certain topic? What areas do you find, or what challenges do you see emerging in performing arts with the technology and science angle? Dila or Taavet?
I have one very, I don't know, it's a topic, it's not a statement, but I think very soon we have to start to tackle totally like a new position or like a new situation, let's say new situation where we cannot believe anymore what we see is real. Thanks to AI generative algorithms. So like photo and video does not represent realness anymore. Voice does not represent realness. So maybe that's one reason why after 18 years of working with a video and generative video, I'm moving back to work with texts, because that's been never been real. So like it's nothing changes with the text. So like you can rely on that. Rely on that, or somehow we have to start to tackle this problem, and I think this can generate very big change. Or like it could be bad on one hand for the arts, but it could be also be very good for performing arts, because the other person who you see, this you can trust. So maybe it turns, I've been very like a kind of a pessimistic about the future of a performing arts, but now if I think it from that perspective, then I maybe would do it Renaissance and make sense of it, because the other person you can trust.
And if I understand correctly, what you're talking about is that in performing arts, the truth is you see it face to face. You see the performer face to face. So there's no mediation. There can be in addition, but there's this purity of connection to someone else, which is in co-presence with you somehow.
Because you can read other person.
Great, interesting. Maybe someone else wants to. You have two microphones to choose from.
Thanks. Well, I didn't mention that actually at the current Art Plus Science edition we have two performances. One was done at the opening, and the final will be at the closing event. However, they are, let's say, kind of interdisciplinary formats. So not like standard there, neither with technology. The first one was involving a choir, which was singing in a style of, let's say, Orthodox Christian medieval religious songs. It was about one specific species of insects, and the other one will be in the format of performative guidance across the botanical garden, wherein the artist will take some specific role, and having that role, he will bring us across the garden and present his artwork. The name of the artwork is also very interesting. It's called Nature Unveiled, Stories About Plants and Workers. So it has that social component. And I believe that really, and I would really like to work on that in the following 5 years or even a decade. We need to emphasize the need for interdisciplinarity, intersectoral communications and collaborations, and also intergenerational, and that's in our focus, because we need somehow to take into account it, also to embrace different voices, allowing different people, different ideas, different thoughts to be visible, to be influential, to interact with us. in a way.
That's very interesting that you mentioned that the performance in the botanical garden, and if I catch it correctly, like with the insects, because I was thinking that like a more than human entanglements and like the post-human ideals has been like explored in research and in like a different ways. Maybe this is me, but I haven't personally yet seen or engaged with any performances that engages with, that actually gives space to more than human beings or materials. As a performer, not only as part of a stage or the performance, but like as a performer. So I was just thinking maybe it could be an interesting thing that we might see, or I guess we already started to see some collaboration with more than human beings in the performance too. But I guess also not necessarily from a performance art point of view, but from interactive embodied arts point of view, this is more like a personal thing. But like you mentioned AI, and of course like audience participation has been explored a lot in performance concepts, and it is still being explored. And I'm also kind of thinking audience participations as a like a collective, interactive art experiences, not necessarily including a performance aspect, but perhaps the experiencing those interactive installations, technologies, collectively as an act of performance creation.
Thank you very much. I think we're sorry, Taavet. There was a frozen moment there.
I was just wanted to quickly add that I wouldn't be true to myself if I wouldn't mention it, that I also see within 5 years, I see the performance is also moving to a digital platforms at the same time. So I just wanted to.
You have quite a bit of work already, planted a lot of seeds in that.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I thought.
Great. So, any questions? One final question from the audience, if any, or from our online. Oh, please. Final question.
Sorry, as an artist, you have to ask the question in times of AI about the original. So that's actually where all the essence of artistic or science research actually is. That's unique, it's innovative, it's original. So is there any hope? Or is it in a time where everything is so like in parallel universes that you can't make like a difference between the pattern repeating an original and the actual original? So I'm just sometimes really panicking about the future.
When you say original, can I kidnap one of these? When you say original, do you mean the originality of the art? So fresh new ideas.
What
in terms
makes
of
an
art
artist is the original innovation. Also, that's
Okay,
why Taavet and me are drawn by innovation, by technology, because it gives space for original ideas. And if AI is just doing random pattern predictions and suddenly it looks original, whereas the difference between the real human creative idea and the pattern which randomly creates something new.
Great. That's a very interesting open question. Do you want to address it somehow?
Yes. From my perspective, 5 or 6 years ago, when we were getting into AI and trying to persuade both artists and other creative people and tech people, let's open up AI from different perspective. No one was really interested. It wasn't important back then, and people were not. Now with available tools and they're quite instant success. The thing completely changed, and they are now drivers of some new reality. I would say. We spoke yesterday that, for instance, for Creative Europe projects, now the threshold for getting approved is around 90%. And the conclusion is that because of heavy use of ChatGPT or other tools in writing proposals, so there are successful areas. But I really don't think that any real creative endeavors are in danger, because AI tools are fabulous, but they're really closed systems, and they can't beat. And I truly believe that they will never be able to beat creative minds of humans. Other professions and other aspects of our life are really in danger, or they will be, positively speaking, improved by the use of AI. But in creative domains, both in research or in arts, I wouldn't say so. And also AI tools, helped us to process data in an uncomparable rate, and that's really fantastic. That's a really magnificent tool, but we just need to train ourselves to be able to use them and to understand. But regarding creativity, I don't think any of us, of anyone, is in danger.
I politely disagree. I think we are in danger, and I think everything what's made with computer is, if not now, then tomorrow is already made better by computer. And maybe there is something physical that cannot be copied. Maybe it's dance, because like a dance enthusiast, and I am maybe it is dance, but I think what is made digitally will be generated. If you put it together randomly, isn't like evolution, and there is a theory of people was talking about the imagination crisis that mankind has, that we cannot imagine better future or better than capitalism or whatever the context is. But I think maybe AI can help us to imagine better future. And also because of this random combination, certain point. Maybe not now if it's learning on the previous data sets, but if it starts to generate those data sets, maybe they can. Of course, the probability is not maybe very big, but there is a probability. Positively speaking.
Any final comments or thoughts? So then I just do a little promotion of a final promotion, a final round of thank yous. Speaking about the future, we now have, now we have the MODINA showcases. So this is the first showcase of the MODINA project. That is composed of seminars and performances. There's still 2 performances, one today at 6 from the MODINA showcase and one tomorrow at 8. So you're all welcome to attend. Also, we have the new generation of MODINA artists that have just been selected that will go through this cycle of residencies and showcases next year, 2025. And Taavet is one of them, I'm happy to announce. The other one was actually shown on that screen just now. It was the collective Hollow that they are performing here Thursday and Friday as part of STF from Hungary. And Marko Milic was shown now by Lale just now, so the future is coming. And also, there was a topic that we talked about, what is real, what is not real. That's a topic of one of the MODINA projects for next year, which is called This is Unreal. Which is a duo from France will explore that topic. So I think there's a lot of also food for thought coming up in the next round of MODINA projects. So I think in 1 year we'll come back here and have another discussion, I hope, around these topics. So thank you very much, Dila, Lale, Taavet, for your wonderful presentations and discussion. Thank you for Sõltumatu Tantsu for hosting, all the technical team in that recording and broadcasting, and our team at Tallinn University, William and Naoto, helping out quite a bit. Thank you to the audience for coming online and on-site. And of course, I have to thank European Union for supporting us. Thank you very much. And see you in the performance, I hope.